Good evening, everyone. Well, it's good evening for me, good afternoon for you guys in the States, and good afternoon for those people who are currently setting up the podium, well, makeshift podium at Carlton Reserve there in Northport, Florida. So I didn't expect to be doing a stream tonight at all. So you will hear some background noise while I'm talking because my washing machine is on and my son is making food and the dogs are all walking about. But as soon as the press conference starts, I'll mute my mic so that that won't interfere. So just to catch everybody up on what has been happening, this has unfolded very quickly. So, you know, people who are coming in saying, what's this press conference? It's just a makeshift podium, as you can see. You know, that's, I'm just going to unmute and see what she's saying, actually. Just a sec. She's not saying anything. They're obviously doing mic tests and stuff. So earlier on today, Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie, Brian's parents, were photographed in Carlton Reserve. It's the Mayaki, I can't even say it. Look, I'm English. Mayakiachi, I think that's how we say it. That part of the reserve. Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie were spotted there. There's pictures of them on Fox News. And then things started to happen. So items consistent with those of Brian were located. Allegedly, Brian's backpack, or at least a backpack that looked very much like Brian's, and some personal items were found. Tents were set up. There's actually 3 tents. That's what it looks like from the overhead shots from WFLA's helicopter. There was a tent set up pretty early on in the afternoon, and then there's a small tent which I think is just it's been used for like tape, police tape, just to, you know, secure police tape. And then a little bit away from the main tent is another tent. So, and then came the news that partial human remains had been located. So what is meant by partial is anybody's guess. All we do know at this moment in time is that the coroner was on scene. There was the FBI, the sheriff's office, the North Public, everybody was there, and everybody started to descend on Carlton Reserve. So all we know for now is that items consistent with Brian's personal items that he allegedly went hiking with, such as his backpack, were found. They were identified by his parents. His parents were sent home, and it is alleged that his parents were visibly upset as they left. So make of that what you will. And then came the news, partial human remains. So this is an FBI press conference. They've set it up like in an hour, so it's very makeshift. And as the media have found out over the last month that they've been there, it's very bad reception. So how this is going to go, I don't know. But WFLA, that you can see on your screen now, are obviously, as you can see, are going to give it a try. So we're going to give it a try as well. And I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to say. Claire, yeah, it is true. This is true. This is actually happening. This has all happened within the last 3 hours, 4 hours. I did a YouTube short a couple of hours ago as things were starting to break. So it's really not long. It's really not long. So it is true that this is happening. There's people in the chat saying that they knew he was dead. I honestly, honestly thought that he's too much of a coward to take his own life. My son's just coming through. The dog's attacking him because he's got food. I'll just let him by.
Do they want to see it?
No, they don't want to see your masterpiece.
Well, they've got butter on the toast. There's no butter in it.
You don't want to see spaghetti hoops on toast, do you? I don't know what you guys in the States call spaghetti hoops. It's like pasta in a tin, like in little round circles. I think you might call it SpaghettiOs. Anyway, I digress. And I forgot what I was saying. So completely forgot what I was saying. I totally forgot what I was saying. Like I said, it's nearly 9:30 for me PM. So oh yeah. I always thought he would be too much of a coward to take his own life. That was my line. And if you'd have asked me, SpaghettiOs, there you go. Thank you, Soul Salty. However, I've consistently said, if he's dead, he's befallen an unfortunate accident. And it's interesting that the other day there was some talk, and I'd made a video about this actually, or at least I included this in a video. Some talk that there was cadaver dogs who could scent human remains in animal feces that were in the area. So although it wasn't 100% confirmed that those particular dogs were there, I find that interesting. So the other thing we also know is that this area where the tents were located is very close to where the Mustang was found, or at least it was given a ticket by the park rangers, like they were told to come and remove this Mustang. And it's also an area that until very recently was underwater. It's not started yet. No, they're doing sound checks. It hasn't started. I'll put the sound on, but it's just annoying music. I'll keep it on low just to convince everybody that when you keep seeing people popping up, they're just doing sound checks, that's all. It's not started yet. So I have no idea what these guys are going to say. Absolutely no idea whatsoever what these guys are going to say. I can imagine they're not going to say very much, simply because the body's literally just been located. Now, whether they're going to say basically what we already know, and they're going to say partial remains have been found consistent with those of Brian Laundrie, his parents have been found, or whether they're going to give us a little bit more, I have no idea. But I certainly don't think we're going to get a 100% confirmed 100% confirmed confirmation that it's him, although we might do, because he's got pretty consistent tattoo, like distinctive tattoos, hasn't he? They're certainly not going to be able to give us anything like a manner of death and stuff like that, because there's going to be nothing like that until the autopsy's been completed. So I am going to mute my mic now and go and sit in the background, and we can listen to this together, and then we'll come back and have a chat.
Streaming live
all right.
WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Here's JD Cuno.
Moments away from answers. The FBI calling a press conference after partial human remains reportedly found here at the Carlton Reserve in an area previously underwater and near a backpack that reportedly had items in it that might have belonged to Brian Laundrie. We're about to find out from the FBI themselves what has transpired here today in Florida. Hey there, everybody. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. We are completely honed in here on the makeshift podium that has been set up at Myakkahatchee, right outside where so many different law enforcement agencies have gathered for the discovery, according to NBC News and others that have been reporting this now, the discovery of partial human remains, or what appears to be partial human remains, at Myakkahatchee. That is the area where the silver Ford Mustang convertible of Brian Laundrie was discovered in September. The citation that was put on that vehicle that was right here on Reisterstown Road in our neck of the woods here in the Tampa Bay area in rural Sarasota County. Let's go here live full screen, and let's just kind of put up the audio a little bit here, and we'll listen in. Just some chattering here in the background, Walt, being joined here on WFLA Now by Walt, WFLA 8 on your side senior investigator Walt Buteau. And Walt, the entire world's going to be watching this press conference, especially those who have been honed into this story from day one and have not stopped watching and getting updates from us on WFLA and other media outlets as well.
Here's what we know from the FBI at 2 hours ago, would have been 2:26. Items of interest, this is from the FBI, a tweet. Items of interest were located at the Carlton Reserve this morning in connection with the search for Brian Laundrie. Important timeline there, found this morning around the time perhaps that the Laundries were there, according to their attorney, Stephen Bertolino. An FBI evidence response team is processing the scene. That was, again, that happened early afternoon. We showed you video of that. And then just a short time ago, 35 minutes ago, media alert, FBI Tampa will brief the media. Now, keep in mind, it's FBI Denver that has led this investigation. And these tweets, by the way, are coming from FBI Denver, but FBI Tampa will brief the media at 4:30 concerning today's developments in the search for Brian Laundrie at the entrance of Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park there in Northport, Florida. So that's what we know, and we expect to know more at 4:30. We also know that backpack, we believe, according to NBC, was found near those human remains. We do not know what the remains, how much, the amount of these remains. We do not know that.
We don't really know anything about the remains whatsoever, other than senior law enforcement officials, sources within senior, or sources that are senior law enforcement officials informing to members of the media that partial human remains, or what appears to be partial human remains, were found in an area that was previously underwater. Right. And that is a huge component here to this story, because we don't know how long the remains have been here. But remember back to September, how wet this area was. I mean, we're talking in some areas knee-deep, waist-deep in water.
Water moccasins and copperheads and alligators, all that stuff.
A tremendous amount of wildlife here at the reserve. It's not all that visible, but we've, gators, you'll find deer, you'll find snakes, you'll find coyotes, panthers, a lot of different wildlife here at the Carlton Reserve, Myakkahatchee, the very rural, vast area of Sarasota County. But we'll go back here live, full screen. Here's how this is going to work. The time now, 4:28 Eastern. We don't know how if the FBI is going to be on time here, but of course we're staying here with you live on WFLA Now. We're going to wait for the FBI to step up to the podium here, and immediately after the press conference is over, Walt and I are here with you live to break down what we have learned. We're going to take your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt questions, because we're going to learn a good amount here, or at least we can only hope that we're going to be provided with some answers, Walt, and there's going to be tons of questions that are going to get asked in the aftermath of this press conference.
Will they answer any of the questions? We don't know. There was somebody, I'm sure they will start, but the FBI would tend to release a statement and then walk on. And keep in mind, again, this is the FBI office out of Tampa, not the lead FBI office out of Denver, which obviously would be the closest office to where the body was found in Wyoming 50 days ago. The body was found on the 19th. So it's been about 40 days, but it was about 50 days ago when, according to various documents, we can narrow down that Gabby Petito was allegedly killed. The victim of homicide, according to the FBI, the victim of strangulation, according to the medical examiner.
Live across all of our platforms here on WFLA Now, and we'll again break down what we have learned in the aftermath here on this stream, wherever you're watching from. JB Buno, Walt Buteau here with you live And we're going to find out here alongside the rest of the world what has transpired today, what discovery has been made. And even though we're going to find out more, we are not going to find out everything, Walt, that the FBI knows. They're going to keep some information, perhaps most information, close to the vest. But they have called this press conference here for a very specific reason, and we're about to find out what that reason is.
And, keep in mind, they're going to keep information close to the vest, but it is very possible that they do not know as much as we might think they know. This is not a television show. This is real life. But perhaps the remains were discovered this morning. It's now been only 5 hours since they've had this remains. So what do they know? They may not know a whole lot. They may be telling us very basic information because that is all they have. Obviously, no forensic study on these remains. We do know when Gabby Petito's remains were found, it was, I believe, another day or so. That was on the 19th that the news conference was held, that the remains were found, and they identified them as Gabby Petito, but we did not find out the manner of death until, I believe, a day or so later. So patience with the investigators at this point. And the big question is, does this close this case? Is this Brian Laundrie? And do we now have a closed case where we have a homicide, but no live defendant to prosecute?
And let's
find that out.
Begin right there. That is the big question. The partial human remains discovered today at the Carlton Reserve here in Myakkahatchee. Is that Brian Laundrie? Is that Brian Laundrie? So many people, of course, have been on the lookout for Brian Laundrie. There have been sightings. Here comes the FBI. We're back here with you live on WFLA Now immediately after the press conference.
Very good. Good afternoon. Josh Taylor with the Northport Police Department. Thank you for your continued diligence on this story, and thanks for your patience. As you know, the Northport Police Department has worked collaboratively with the FBI throughout this investigation. Special Agent Michael McPherson is going to make a prepared statement. There's not going to be any questions today, but hopefully it answers some of them. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael McPherson. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Tampa Division. As you're aware, the FBI and the Northport Police Department and our state and local law enforcement partners have been searching the area of the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently have been underwater. Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area. It's likely the team will be on scene for several days. I know you have a lot of questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. We are working diligently to get those answers for you. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of the Northport Police Department, along with our partners from the state and local agencies. Complex investigations such as this cannot be accomplished by one agency alone, but there's just too many agencies to name them all here today. Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity for the safety of the public and to protect the integrity of our work. We have no additional comment related to today's activities. Our FBI Denver office is the lead investigative agency, and all future inquiries should be directed to them. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public and continue to ask for your assistance in bringing this investigation to close. Thank you.
Was the backpack found near the body? Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice for Gabby!
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JD Buno.
Well, that didn't tell us very much, did it? That did not tell us very much at all. I didn't expect them to be honest. I think they just wanted to, I don't know, make it known that they're they're telling us a lot, aren't they, by telling us nothing, in my opinion. That if this was just some random person, you know, they have found a body. They have found somebody. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago? They found a body in the swamps. They didn't have an FBI press conference for that person, did they? You know, but I think they're sure. I think they know it's him. In my opinion, the fact that his items have been identified and that the remains were found very close to those items, surely it has to be him. Anything's possible, as I always say, that a random person died very close to where Brian left some items. I don't think so, quite honestly. I think this is Brian's body. Famous last words. This is, of course, just my opinion. I think this is Brian's body, or else they wouldn't have gone to this effort to do this at such short notice. I think there must be reason to believe that the partial remains that they've got are his. Now, we won't know anymore. We won't know anymore until an autopsy has been done. You know, they'll. I saw someone in the chat say before, and very correctly, that if the skull's been found, then dental records will identify that person. Other than that, they'll be looking at DNA. They've got his DNA. We know they've got his DNA. So they can identify him based on his DNA. However, that does take time. DNA testing does take a little bit of time. It's not as quick as identifying by dental records. But I think that puts pay to a lot of speculation. I think this will now close the case. You know, once the autopsy is done and it's been confirmed it's him, it will close the case. There'll be lots and lots and lots of questions. I feel so sorry for Gabby's parents. And I have to say, I've got sympathy with the Laundries. If they've lost their son, and I know they've behaved horribly. They've behaved horribly. But they've not behaved illegally, as far as any of us can tell. They haven't behaved illegally. They've behaved, in my opinion, immorally. And if I was a member of Gabby's family, I'd be wanting to rip their heads off, right? You know, and as we say in these parts, shit down their neck, because it's horrendous what Gabby's parents have gone through. And, you know, that Gabby's friends and family must be going through hell, absolute hell. And it was only a few days ago, wasn't it, that they did the interview. And Gabby's mother and stepfather said that they wanted vengeance and justice. And I think justice, how will they feel? Like Gabby's mother said that she wanted to see Brian in a cell for the rest of his life. And anything less, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but anything less, I think she might feel cheated. She might feel cheated. But I don't know. I think they will make statements, and at least it gives them some level of closure. I think the worst outcome would have been for Gabby's family would have been that he's never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Because in that instance, there's no justice, plus there's no closure either. You know, ideally, justice should be served legally, and he should be made to stand trial and tell exactly what happened to Gabby. As it is, if this is Brian, that will not happen. We won't ever fully know what happened to Gabby. We won't know what went on. Unless he's left some kind of note, not in the area where it's been previously underwater. Otherwise, I don't think it'll be legible. But hopefully, he's been able to communicate in some way. You know, and there's been a lot of speculation. I've seen a lot of speculation in the last couple of days about both on the news, but also on YouTube, about what do Brian's parents actually know. So is it possible that Brian lied to them as well? That he came home saying, oh, me and Gabby have split up, and she gave me the van, and she's going to make her own way home. And when Brian left, you know, Brian left as soon as she hit the fan, pardon my language, and maybe his parents weren't told the truth. You know, this camping. Oh, I think they've lost the stream. You know, this camping trip at DeSoto between the 6th and the 8th. You know, maybe that was, oh, we'll change our reservation for you, Brian, because, you know, you need cheering up because you've split up with your girlfriend. And no, wasn't she horrible to you? You know, he could have spun them a really pitiful yarn that it's all her fault. And it's only as time's gone on that the Laundries have realised that Brian was lying. However, because there's always a however, it could be that they know everything. It could be that they knew everything from day one, and they've concocted a story. You know, they've got themselves a lawyer. The lawyers told them to say nothing. The lawyers told them to just keep it stum and say nothing and let the law prove it. Either of those alternatives, for me, it's a 50-50 for me, which one of those is true. I don't know. None of us know. But everyone is true. I do have some sympathy with them. If this is Brian, that they have lost a son, even though they've behaved completely immorally, especially if they knew all along. But hopefully they will now be able to redeem themselves a little bit by coming out and saying and telling the world exactly what Brian told them. Because at least that's something for Gabby's family. If they continue to say nothing whatsoever forever, which is their right. It's their right to do so. But if they do that, my sympathy for them as grieving parents will go right down. I've got sympathy with them at the moment, but if they continue to torture Gabby's family by not saying what it is they know, then I am going to be very, very annoyed, and my sympathy with them will go right down. So, yeah, they did. When I've lost the comment now, I should have put this on slow chat. It's not moving that fast, but I found it. They knew as soon as Petito's called. They knew something was wrong. Yeah. They knew something was wrong. They knew Gabby was missing. So allegedly, Brian was still at home at that point. Allegedly. So Joe Petito turned up at the door on the 10th of September. And then Brian allegedly went missing, went for his hike on the 13th of September. But he could have continued to lie to them and say, no, I don't know anything. Now, at that point, if that was me and if that was my son, I'd have frog marched him to the police and say, right, you tell them everything you know. But that's just me, right? You know, and the lawyer might have given them the advice is just say, no, it'd be better for you if you say nothing. It'd be better for you all if you say nothing. So I don't know. I mean, I've been very, very, very critical of the Laundries, and I'll stand by that. I think they've behaved horribly. You could be right there, Scots, that they wouldn't have lawyered up if they were unaware. Yeah, quite possibly. Even if they didn't know, they might have suspected. They might have strongly suspected that something was up. But I agree. But it is possible that they were spun a load of lies, because Brian is a narcissistic coward, and narcissistic cowards are superficially very charming. And if he's their golden boy and they want to think the best of him, then they won't be the first parents who've been suckered in by a sob story. They won't be the first, and they certainly won't be the last. But, you know, you've got to say, well, they've only got themselves to blame that he's dead. They should have frog marched him to the police station, and at least he would still be alive. I can argue it all ways. I can argue it from their point of view as parents who maybe were suspicious but didn't really know and just wanted to think the best, all the way up to they knew everything and they've behaved horribly. And if that's the case, I hope, although it puts paid to all of the speculation as to where's Brian? Is he on the Appalachian Trail? Is he in Canada? Is he in Mexico? Is he in Cuba? You know, I've been half expecting him to see in the woods down the road. I've been half expecting him to see him because he could have been anywhere. He had the time to go literally anywhere. However, you know, it puts paid to that if it's him. So why do people keep saying 28 days? I think it's due to, they were saying this before. There was a psychic who contacted Walt, who's on your screen right now, saying that Brian would be found and would be found alive. So she was wrong, but 28 days. And today is day 29 from the time that she said that. Thank you, Patricia. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. So maybe that's where the 28 days keeps coming from. But she was wrong. She said he'd be found near water, but it's not difficult to be found near water in Florida. And she said he'd be found alive. So she was wrong. But anyway, but yeah, they have been talking about that. But as I said, at least this puts paid to the, if it's him, of course, puts paid to the speculation that he's in Canada or he's in Cuba or he's on a yacht or he's somewhere else. Aliens have abducted him. All of those things, right? And I know a lot of people are saying the Laundries have been there early this morning and they've planted evidence. Well, who's to know that they haven't? And we won't know until the post-mortem is completed. I don't know the psychic's name. Whoever said that, the chat jumped. They didn't reveal. They didn't say the psychic's name. Certainly not when I was listening anyway. but once, you know, once the autopsy's done and the body is identified, then at least that part's over. But if the Laundries had anything to do with this whatsoever, and they were aware, and they've been withholding information from the police, then I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens, because Gabby was murdered on federal land. I don't know enough about US law to be able to say what laws they might have broken, if any. I mean, I know it's been said that before the warrant for his arrest came out, they didn't have to say, because he was a free man. So they, you know, they don't have to say that anything, because he was a free man at that point. But once the arrest warrant was issued, if they continued to conceal him or lie, then they definitely have committed a crime. Aiding and abetting. I think it's like obstruction of justice or something like that. It might be, but I don't know. I wonder whether they'll just shut it all down now. You know, they'll be like, well, you know. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think I really want to speculate anymore, to be honest. But yeah. So I think possibly I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said before, I didn't expect to be streaming tonight. It's not very good audio because you might be able to hear my washing machine in the background because it's insanely loud. Thank you so much, Army Mum. Army Mum. You deserve a cup of tea and some rest. Thank you. I will do that. I will do that. I do like a cup of tea. Fun fact, I don't like coffee. The taste of coffee isn't too bad. It's the smell of coffee. I cannot stand the smell of coffee, but I do like a good cup of tea. So there you go. Thank you so much, Kay. That's very kind. Always had a thought, what if Brian lied his arse off to his parents until he had to say something, then lawyer made everyone shut up? That could well be it. That could well be it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Could well be it. Or something very close to that. But like I said, hopefully, you know, if this is confirmed that this is Brian. Oh, treats for dogs. Thank you. I hate chocolate. You hate chocolate, does that say? I definitely need new glasses because I'm still struggling with words. I think it might be post-COVID. I can read words. I just struggle with them. They will definitely get some treats. The people who paid towards getting Jack, my old boy, some treats. Oops. Thank you. Thank you so much. I need to take a photograph of what I bought Jack because I bought him a fancy new bed. It came yesterday and it takes 48 hours for it to plump up. It's like, you know, like it remembers your shape of your body. So it's a little bit flatter than it should be, but he loves it. So it's a nice fancy new bed because Jack is my old boy. He's 14. He's very frail. He doesn't really do treats because he's got hardly any teeth and he's blind and he's going deaf and he doesn't walk very far, but he's really happy. He just lives in his own little world and he sleeps and he nibbles a little bit and then he sleeps some more. So his nice new bed, he's loving it. Even though he's not in his bed at the moment, he's on the settee. He's on the sofa, just over there, just off camera. But I'll definitely be buying the dogs more treats soon. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I might even be able to buy Jack another bed to have in another room. Something else Jack does, and I don't think he probably likes me airing all of his secrets in public, but sometimes he wheezes in his sleep. So his beds have to be washed quite frequently. He's looked at me. He's an old man. He doesn't, his bladder gets full and then he just thinks, oh, I'm asleep. I'm comfortable. I don't want to move. And then he just wheezes in his sleep. So there you go. But it's a shame. It's a shame. So that's why my washing machine's always on, because I'm always washing like things that belong to dogs. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Your middle name's Jack. That's good. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. And I'll stream again once and presumably there'll be a press conference when they get the autopsy result. Maybe, I don't know. But I'll stream again very soon. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, folks.